Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the best, most important, and/or most unforgettable rock tracks ever. Number 30, London Calling, The Clash. After pursuing punk rock for several years, The Clash expanded their horizons on London Calling. The title song is one of their finest anthems. It brings together many of their political and social themes into one striking track.
London calling to the faraway towns. Now war is declared and battle come down.
Joe Strummer leads the charge with his vocals, with the frontman accompanied by some driving guitars. Musically, the group generates a strong sound for both punk and rock fans to enjoy.
'Cause London is drowning out. I live by the river.
The apocalyptic story buzzes through your speakers with an urgent tone. With this exciting track, the band evolved their sound and capitalized on their earlier career.
And after all this, won't you give me a smile?
Number 29, Red Rain, Peter Gabriel. With his fifth solo record, Peter Gabriel achieved one of his biggest successes. The album So garnered attention for hits like In Your Eyes and Red Rain. With a thundering intro, the latter track features some awesome percussion.
Red rain is coming down. Red rain.
Gabriel's songwriting paints a beautiful picture while rocking the house. Starting with the title, the singer's evocative imagery only adds to the overall production. His smooth vocals do justice to a stunning piece of music. He and co-producer Daniel Lanois craft a cinematic track, giving audiences a richly textured vision. It's also another reason to explore the album beyond hits like Sledgehammer.
Rain is coming down all over me. I see it.
Number 27, Layla, Derek and the Dominoes. The opening riff immediately sets the tone, prepping listeners for a rock adventure. Derek and the Dominoes might have been a one-off band, but this record sums up their genius. Eric Clapton takes the vocal and offers a masterclass on lead guitar.
What do you do when you get lonely? Nobody's waiting by your side.
His work in the first section might even be a career best. Once the unorthodox love story ends, a piano coda takes you away on a melancholic ride. With Duane Allman's slide guitar, the dreamy conclusion achieves what few rock instrumentals ever could.
Got me on my knees. I'm thinking, darling, please.
The haunting music even inspired the likes of Martin Scorsese for his film Goodfellas. Number 27, All the Young Dudes, Mott the Hoople. This band is perhaps best remembered for this masterpiece. Written by David Bowie, the song was recorded for their fifth album of the same name. It's a definitive classic of the 1970s rock scene.
And when he's stealing clothes from Marks and Sparks, and Freddy's got spots from ripping off the stars.
Singer Ian Hunter gives some of his coolest vocals, doing Bowie's lyrics justice with his performance. Mott the Hoople more than earned the chance to play this song. In some cases, people might not even realize the identity of the author. The group gives a rocking effort that captures the highest highs of glam. Influencing a number of acts, Hoople's version could be called a mainstay for a generation of musicians and music fans. Number 26, Paranoid, Black Sabbath. Whether or not they invented heavy metal, Black Sabbath clearly had a hand in shaping the rock subgenre. They were also one of the most merciless acts of their time. Their second album featured the furious song Paranoid. Tony Iommi's opening guitar riffs might have created 1,000 imitators, with metalheads hoping to sound half as good. Sabbath also had bassist Geezer Butler and drummer Bill Ward to kick things up a notch. Rounding out the four-piece, Ozzy Osbourne's earth-shattering voice sealed the deal. It's a legendary track that set a course for heavier and scarier sounds in rock.
I need someone to show me the
Number 25, Land of Confusion, Genesis. Through many incarnations, Genesis made sure they didn't fall under one label. The band entered the 1980s with a more rock and pop-focused sound.
There's too many men, too many people, making too many problems.
They also managed to create this track full of great lyrics and instrumentation. Phil Collins delivers his vocals with sheer force, building out his criticisms of politicians and beyond. Land of Confusion showed that a group could redefine themselves over a decade into a legendary career.
This is the world we live in, and these are the names we give up.
It also revealed that they could write a much harder rock song than anyone could have guessed. Collins and his bandmates find a way to shock the audience's senses.
And not much left to go round. Can't you see this is the land of confusion?
Number 24, Back in Black, ACDC. The Australian band conquered the rock genre in the 1970s, but they kept growing in the 1980s. They'd lost Bon Scott, but they also found a new talent with Brian Johnson. Back in Black helps introduce another frontman with otherworldly vocals. With the Young brothers bringing their A-game, the guitar parts hit you right in the chest. The track gives the group one of their signature pieces. From an awesome album, this title song showed that AC/DC was only getting started in a different decade. The bandmates come together for a rip-roaring good time. It's one that you want to play loud, with the instruments giving listeners a huge boost of energy. Number 23, Panama, Van Halen. Lighting up the hard rock scene, Van Halen occupies an important space between the 1970s and 1980s. They also have a ton of recognizable hits like Panama.
Don't you know she's coming home with me? You lose her in that turn.
As the highlight of every tune, Eddie Van Halen reminds listeners of his artistry throughout the track. The guitarist lights up this songwriting with his signature licks. Not to be outdone, David Lee Roth also reminds you why he's an unforgettable frontman. Add in some cool backing vocals and you have a recipe for rock success. You also get to hear Alex Van Halen's drums and Michael Anthony's bass, with the others filling out a killer rhythm section. Number 22, My Hero, Foo Fighters. In over 2 decades of solid work, Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters have created their fair share of rock staples. Their second album, The Color and the Shape, includes the memorable single My Hero. It's the kind of song that pays tribute to heroic people and gives you an uplifting feeling. Underneath it all, the production is complete with some heavy-hitting drum parts. There's also the intense growl of Grohl at the forefront.
There goes my hero. Watch him as he goes.
The sharp vocals and music make for one of the band's signature songs. You also hear an impressive bridge, building up to a dramatic drum roll that you will not forget.
There goes my hero. It's ordinary.
Number 21, Freebird, Lynyrd Skynyrd. These southern rockers have a style all their own, with many hits from the 1970s. Freebird might be their most enduring effort. While it became a joke to call it out, the track itself is anything but a cliché.
'Cause I'm as free as a bird now.
Lynyrd Skynyrd created what might be one of the perfect closers in rock history. Ronnie Van Zant guides listeners through some introspective lyrics, setting up the end jam. The latter part is a mix of multiple guitars rocking out. Skynyrd's original lineup set a high standard with their recording, but the newer members carried on the legacy. It's a defining tune for a musical act known for their spirited work.
Won't you fly free, bird, yeah.
Number 20, I Want You to Want Me, Cheap Trick. Through the art of power pop, Cheap Trick created some of the catchiest rock tunes of the 1970s and 1980s. Rick Nielsen plays lively guitar riffs and Bunny Carlos lays down smooth drum tracks. I Want You to Want Me almost feels like a rock standard at this point. Using Nielsen's songwriting, singer Robin Zander and bassist Tom Peterson add to the entertaining sound. It's also a sincere and clever way to prove a point about love. From the introduction to the musical climax, this single grabs you by the lapels and doesn't let go. Number 19, Rockin' in the Free World, Neil Young. After working with various bands, Neil Young set out on a fruitful solo career. The 1980s allowed him to go even further with his rock roots. Rockin' in the Free World showed that Young hadn't lost his youthful spirit either. It's something of a call to action that just about everyone can enjoy. The lyrics push people to consider their surroundings and be true to themselves.
Now she puts the kid away. She's gonna get a hit. She hates her life and what she's gonna do.
With a strong political voice, the vocalist gives one of his strongest performances ever. The singer managed to do so much with just a handful of chords and an important message.
Keep on rocking in the free world.
Number 18, Go Your Own Way, Fleetwood Mac. Writer Lindsey Buckingham outdid himself with this masterful track. As part of Fleetwood Mac, he released one of the most meaningful breakup songs of the 1970s.
You can go your own way. Go your own way.
Off of the album Rumors, Buckingham charts a course for moving on and starting something new. Not even the band's internal drama could prevent this from being a work of art. There are some compelling verses leading up to a cathartic chorus. Along the way, there's even a solo from the underrated guitarist. It has all the ingredients of a song that's both of its era and timeless. With the evocative story, this single stands out among the group's finest efforts. Number 17, Smoke on the Water, Deep Purple. This might be considered an easy riff, but it's also become part of music history. It's one of the essential parts every guitarist should learn when they're starting out. Other than the great instrumental, this entertaining track also features an iconic story. The lyrics describe a real incident that happened at a Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention concert. Since the smoke is literal, the gritty details become all the more memorable.
The Frank Zappa and the Mothers were at the best place around.
You also get to hear Ian Gillan's remarkable vocals. Reading like a tense drama, this foundational single feels like the essence of classic rock.
Smoke on the water, a fire in the sky.
Number 16, Born to Run, Bruce Springsteen. On one of his most important records, Bruce Springsteen created one of his most beloved works. Born to Run includes all of the boss's signature themes and musical abilities.
At night we ride the matches of glory.
There are so many elements packed into this number, and each one feels better than the next. You have the mighty saxophone of Clarence Clemens as well as the rhythmic drums of Ernest Carter. The lyrics make you want to get up, get out, and run to your next goal. Springsteen is on fire here as both a musician and a poet for the ordinary man.
We walk in the sun, until it traps like us. Baby, we were born to run.
Number 15, Dream On, Aerosmith. It's hard to believe that Aerosmith released this song on their first album. Even in the early 70s, Steven Tyler had a voice to rival anyone in rock. He and his bandmates perform a ballad that hasn't lost any of its power.
Dream on, dream on, dream on.
it seems way ahead of its time in terms of production, writing, and stellar performances. The band was just getting started, but they were already wise beyond their years. This is the kind of song to inspire even the most downtrodden listener. Dream On is a profound and motivational speech set to fantastic music. Number 14, Hotel California, Eagles. When you think of the Eagles, you might first consider the title track of Hotel California. It could arguably be their magnum opus. In a more rock-focused direction, the band put sweet guitar licks at the forefront. Don Henley's vocals tell the story of a mysterious place with imaginative details. In between colorful words, you get to hear the dynamic guitars of Don Felder and Joe Walsh. Their extended solos could be their own separate song. While the band was known for their internal feuds, this track represented what they could achieve in between the fights.
You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Number 13, Black, Pearl Jam. Without a doubt, 10 is one of the more outstanding debuts of the 1990s. The album includes singles such as Even Flow and deeper cuts like Black. With some of the group's best playing, the latter tune features all the highs of their biggest hits. Eddie Vedder's voice serenades the audience in a moody mix of heartache and nostalgia. Combining their strings, Stone Gossard, Jeff Ament, and Mike McCready strike a perfect balance. The bandmates bring together a song that's much deeper than any grunge cliches. In a vulnerable performance, Pearl Jam uses every wail and guitar stroke to find their emotional core.
All been washed in black, tattooed everything.
Number 12, Hound Dog, Elvis Presley. At the dawn of rock and roll, Elvis Presley came ready to perform. This cover of a Big Mama Thornton single gave him another opportunity to become a star. He immediately stands out, throwing his entire voice into a catchy production.
Well, they said you was high class. Well, that was just a lie.
His performances of Hound Dog on television revealed his vocal and dance abilities. Presley's version is one of his signatures, showing an artist that's destined to be a legend.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time.
He helps mix blues and rockabilly sounds into a groundbreaking record. Not afraid to be bold, the singer helped usher in a new genre during a transformative decade. This work captures him on the rise, with a fiery attitude that shook up audiences.
Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit. You ain't no friend of mine.
Number 11, Johnny B. Good, Chuck Berry. You can argue about the king of rock, but you cannot discount the contributions of Chuck Berry. He's one of the best singer-songwriters of the genre. Berry's trademark Johnny B. Good has everything you could want from an early rocker.
There stood a log cabin made of earth and wood, where lived a country boy named Johnny B. Good.
It's catchy, filled with upbeat guitar parts, and full of iconic lyrics. Many generations of listeners have enjoyed this lively tune. Hordes of musicians have been influenced by this recording, with some even covering it themselves.
Go, 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 Johnny, go, go, go. Go, Johnny, go, go, go.
The music even finds a place in film history as an essential part of Back to the Future. No matter your age, you can sing and dance to it all these years later.
Go, Johnny, go, go, go. Johnny be good.
Number 10, Smells Like Teen Spirit, Nirvana. On their second studio album, Nirvana broke through to general audiences. This included generation-defining tracks like Smells Like Teen Spirit. Kurt Cobain's songwriting shook listeners to the core, helping to usher out the stale rock bands of the 1980s. Cobain's rage-filled voice and catchy lyrics were a successful combination. With Chris Novoselic's bass and Dave Grohl's drums, the single had a much more rounded and rhythmic sound. The The band used influences from punk, indie, and classic rock to craft their own version of grunge. Over 30 years later, the hit still feels as rebellious as ever. Number 9. Enter Sandman, Metallica. Metal might be rock at its most extreme. Metallica had a hand in making it an art form, with this classic coming off of the Black Album. They greeted a new decade with a shift in their style. Testing the waters, the band unleashed Enter Sandman in 1991. The nightmarish journey provides audiences with high-intensity riffs. With James Hetfield bringing his iconic voice, the single is impossible to ignore. It's also an incredible and energetic performance from the quartet. Die-hard fans might prefer their earlier work, but this hit still feels like the best gateway to their deeper catalog.
Take my hand, off to Neverland.
Number 8. Purple Haze, the Jimi Hendrix Experience. You can't talk about electric guitar or rock music without Jimi Hendrix. In 1967, he and his band released the single Purple Haze. It's one track that let the guitarist make his mark. Competing with psychedelic lyrics and sounds, the high-flying guitar parts are nothing short of legendary. You'll be wowed by the effortless moves all the way to the end. He might make it sound easy, but he also plays it like nobody before or since.
Excuse me while I kiss the sky.
It's yet another example of why he was one of the masters of his instrument. Without him or this song, the genre wouldn't be the same.
Tomorrow or just the end of time.
Number 7. Welcome to the Jungle, Guns N' Roses. Arriving at the end of the 1980s, Guns N' Roses showed that hard rock wasn't dead yet. They offered up some of the best songs of the later decade, including Welcome to the Jungle.
Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games. We got everything you want.
The hit gave audiences one of their first looks at future legends. Beneath all of the fun, it's a song full of iconic lyrics and sweet guitar playing. Slash is in rare form here, but bandmates like Duff McKagan and drummer Steven Adler only make the track better. Axl Rose sounds like nobody else, pushing his vocal cords to the limit. This highlight from Appetite for Destruction contributed to another exciting era of rock. Number 6. Won't Get Fooled Again, The Who. This band loves to tell stories and craft epic songs. From Roger Daltrey's opening scream to Keith Moon's drumming, this track gives you everything you want from The Who. It's also a standout among other classics on Who's Next. Pete Townshend's shredding enhances a towering performance from everyone. They were some of the loudest and most enticing musicians of their time, building up their raw energy for a terrific finale.
Just like yesterday. Then I'll get on my knees and pray.
This hit certainly proves that you can crank up the volume and send a message. With one of the best four pieces ever, the British rockers bring incredible musicianship to this awe-inspiring tune.
We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
Number 5. Purple Rain, Prince and the Revolution. You could spend hours arguing over his best song, but Purple Rain is not a bad choice. The singer does one of his most emotional vocals ever. His guitar playing also soars to new heights, with a solo to show off even more of his talent. Prince's abilities can't be described in one tune, but this one might be the greatest example of all of his strengths. Paired with the film of the same name, this piece serves as the peak of an amazing movie soundtrack. The rock ballad ultimately sounds like an artist in complete control. Number 4. Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, Pink Floyd. If you don't know the song, you probably know the most famous lyrics. Pink Floyd's Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 works like a true anthem. From their album The Wall, the band takes aim at tough childhoods and trouble in school.
We don't need no education.
On a musical level, the production makes you want to cause some chaos or lash out. There's even a hint of disco hidden beneath the angst. David Gilmour also packs in a cool solo, countering the bouncy quality of the verses. Writer Roger Waters envisioned an album that could have been a novel, with this hit standing as its own iconic chapter. Number 3. A Day in the Life, The Beatles. On Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, the Fab Four elevated their game once more. The psychedelic album ends with A Day in the Life. It might be the best encapsulation of John Lennon and Paul McCartney's writing partnership.
I read the news today, oh boy.
In the beginning, Lennon sings the headlines in a mournful section. An orchestral break creates a swirling transition into McCartney's upbeat number. Somehow, the two songwriters combined their musical visions without stepping on each other.
Woke up, fell out of bed, dragged a comb across my head.
The track spins pop, rock, and orchestra music into one timeless piece. With hypnotic strings, the experimental work builds to a spectacular finish. Number 2. Bohemian Rhapsody, Queen. In a career of massive hits, Queen builds an undeniable epic with Bohemian Rhapsody. The vibrant storytelling is operating on a much higher level than most contemporary acts.
Any way the wind blows doesn't really matter to me.
Freddie Mercury clearly outdid himself in a multi-layered suite that begs for another listen. From a piano ballad to a hard rock outro, this track seems to have everything. Brian May's guitar carries the legends through one section, while harmonies fill out another.
If I'm not back again this time tomorrow, carry on, carry on.
It's operatic, anthemic, and entertaining through every single change. Mercury delivers some of his finest lyrics alongside his fellow bandmates' iconic performances. What more could you ask for?
Nothing really matters to me.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Stairway to Heaven, Led Zeppelin. It's easy to call this one of the most famous guitar intros of all time. Many young players dream of being able to replicate it.
When I look to the west and my spirit is crying for leaving.
From Jimmy Page's work to Robert Plant's lyrics, Stairway to Heaven is a definitive rock statement. Led Zeppelin released the song during one of their high points in the early 1970s. Blending rock and folk together, the group evolved their sound and artistry.
Dear lady, can you hear the wind blow? And did you know?
It's hard to imagine recent music history without this piece. Some might call it overrated, but the song still means so much to one of rock's most elite lineups.
The stairway to heaven.
Did we forget another legendary rock track? Let us know in the comments below. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.